Here in North America, we often don't get the fun Volkswagen models sold in Europe. We discussed this last year when we featured the Passat, it being a completely different vehicle than the one sold in its own domestic market. But Volkswagen has finally decided that we here in North America deserve a proper mid-size sedan. Enter this 2020 Volkswagen Arteon Execline. Our chili red test model comes fully equipped at $53,085. We're going to be going over absolutely everything you need to know if you're in the market for a four-door coupe and want to know what there is to offer with this and everything else to see if this is the Passat that we ultimately deserve. You know, I feel like this car has been announced for so long, kind of like the Altima that we did, the 2020 Altima, where, Nissan showed that off and it took a while for it to actually come into the market and for people to be able to buy it. I feel like it's the same way for this. I saw this at both auto shows at the beginning of the year, but it was really announced before that. It's finally here. It's a car that I've had on my list for quite some time, and we're going to be going over in depth with it. We're also going to be doing some winter testing. It isn't supposed to be snowing for the rest of this week, but we have had a little bit of snow, so I can tell you about it. But let's talk about the Arteon. This uses a 2-liter TSI turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 268 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. Here in Canada, it uses an 8-speed automatic transmission with 4-motion all-wheel drive. In Europe, they have different options. There's 6-speed manuals and 7-speed dual clutches, but here we get the 8-speed, and that's it. This is built on the MQB platform, which is the same platform that underpins almost all of the current Volkswagen and a lot of Audi models. It is very similar to the European Passat in terms of how it's built and set up. And it is a direct successor to the Volkswagen CC. That also was a four-door coupe kind of thing that was meant to be the upscale Passat, more in line with what the European market got for us here in Canada. Now ours is fully loaded for this market. We have two packages on here, $2,095 Canadian for the driver assistance package. That adds a 360-degree camera, lane assist, and the park assist. You also have the $2,995 R-Line package. It adds these 20-inch Rosario alloys with aluminum R-Line door sills, black headliner, silver rise interior trim, R-Line exterior design package, and the R-Line leather-wrapped and heated steering wheel. Finally, a heated steering wheel on a Volkswagen product. Now, again, I say this is fully loaded. You can add some little options and stuff here, but it's not fully loaded if you look at what the Arteon has to offer in Europe. We don't get a color head-up display, nor do we get the current and more modern version of the infotainment and navigation software. This is still using the same stuff that we have seen for a very long time now from Volkswagen. Again, it's a way to make this vehicle more cost-effective for the North American market. So they're stripping out features like that you can get in Europe in their domestic market, but here you don't. And for $53,000, I mean, this is not a cheap sedan. For this price, you can get something like the Kia Stinger GT Limited, which has way more power, is a rear-wheel drive vehicle with an all-wheel drive option, and then the interior is more sport-oriented. This is a little bit more on the luxury side of things, and I want to use that term pretty lightly because there's still a lot of hard surfacing in here, and it really isn't a luxury experience, but I know that our Volkswagen enthusiasts out there will say otherwise. Here in Canada, we also only get the Execline. This is fully loaded for us, and they do use different trim names in the US. They have SE, SEL, things like that. But this Execline is the only one available, plus those two packages that you can add. And I think that might be the problem. The reason why I haven't seen any of these on the road, except from dealer fleet, is because it's just too expensive. I mean, it's too expensive for the average consumer to really consider it, because at 53 grand, there's a lot of options out there. But then the fact that there aren't other trims means people aren't going to be able to get into that entry level and see it on the road, and that's the best way for cars to be marketed, is to see them on the road. So I don't know, we'll see how it does overall, but so far I've seen one Arteon on the road. It was a dealer car. So what do you get with the Execline here in Canada? It comes with the dynamic chassis control. We saw that on the Golf R. You also have a 15mm lower independent rear sport suspension with the Execline. And again, since it's the only one offered here in Canada, it'll come on any Arteon you get. You have adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, park distance control, LED adaptive headlights with quartering lamps, LED taillights, a panoramic sunroof. Really just takes up the front portion of the interior cabin, so I wouldn't consider it to be a proper pano sunroof, but it is an oversized sunroof as far as I'm concerned. You have automatic folding mirrors, rain sensing wipers, and a rear lift back with foot activations. You open up the doors and you'll see that they have frameless windows. This is the 4-door coupe style. Now, there's one thing that I found annoying about this. Again, at $53,000, we do sort of expect this to be the best of the best. You do have a keyless entry system on the front doors. You can lock and unlock from there, but the rear doors don't. And if you're like me, you're going to pick up your kids, you really want to have those doors work that way so you can unlock it from the back. In this case, I have to either put my hand on the front door first or use the fob to unlock it in order to get my kid in the back seat. The power folding mirrors are a nice thing to have. Again, they're automatic when you lock the car. You can manually close them with the button on the inside. And unlike the Atlas R design that we had a little earlier this year, which deletes the 360 camera, this car still has it even though it has the R-Line package. So that's a nice thing to have. The 360 camera works well enough. It's not super high quality, but it gets the job done. Now, one thing we talked about last year with the Passat was the remote starter. You push the button on the lock key twice, and then you push the remote starter button, and it'll start up. My complaint last year is as soon as you go to unlock the car and open the door, the engine shuts off. And I had enough people comment and say that it was a safety feature of some sorts where, oh no, you don't want somebody to steal the car despite the fact that the key is not in there. This is not that problem. As you saw, I was able to remote start the car and open the door without it stopping. What's the point of remote starting it if it gets interrupted when you get in? So it's a good thing to have there. I mean, they've made some improvements, still some small things like the rear non-keyless entry doors. That would be a nice thing to have. Aside from that, the exterior looks really good. I like the front end. I like the back end. It is using the newer design language Volkswagen is going with the name of the vehicle below the center Volkswagen badge, in this case Arteons along the back. And we saw that this week with the new Golf 8. The new Mark 8 Golf has the same Golf badge in the same position at the back. Something like the Atlas as well does that. So this is the design language they're going with, and still pretty traditional to what Volkswagen has been doing. Even though this is a new vehicle for the 2019 model year, at least here in Canada, they haven't gone above and beyond. I mean, the inside too is pretty much cookie cutter Volkswagen. There is some small design changes like the HVAC vents, but pretty much is using all the parts that Volkswagen has been using up until now. And for a brand new vehicle, I was kind of expecting more. But let's talk about the inside. We have an 8-inch infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, and that 360-degree backup camera system is on there. It uses a 700-watt, 10-speaker Dynaudio audio system. The remote starter we talked about comes with Volkswagen's digital cockpit. The seating configuration, 3 different ones to choose from. Here we have mixed Mistral and Raven leather seating with front heat, ventilation, and power with heated rear seats. The driver also has memory options and massage, which is something you don't really find in this segment. There's 3-zone climate control, little controls in the back for the back passengers, 3-color mood lighting. I'm not going to say it's ambient lighting. It runs across the dashboard. Little strips on the doors, footwell lighting and stuff, and a really nice light actually in the center console area above your head. Really nice little touch there. It's only a white light, whereas the other 2 colors you could choose are yellow or blue for the rest of the lighting. I think it looks pretty nice, but mood lighting, because there isn't a whole lot of choice, and it doesn't really set the ambiance in the car. It's just mood lighting. There's 2 buttons on the inside I want to talk about really quickly. In the glove box is a valet key button. You open up the glove box, push the button, and it will lock out most of the car's features, i.e. the glove box and the trunk. We'll also set the infotainment system into the car mode, so you can essentially just see the fuel mileage. You won't be able to play with the radio controls. You can't get into the glove box or trunk, so it's a nice little feature to have if you do valet this vehicle. And then there's also an inclement weather button for the light system. It's right beside the automatic light switch. You push that and it will turn on your headlights and your taillights, but also turns on the cornering lamps. Now again, this has an adaptive headlight system, so when you turn the wheels, the lights will move. It has cornering lamps, so when you have a turn signal on or the wheels are moving, an extra light will illuminate that corner. But with the inclement weather button, it will turn on those cornering lamps as well. They kind of act as fog lights. It is a nice thing to have if the weather gets rough. It's not an automatic feature, so you do have to push the button, but it's something that I haven't seen on any other vehicle before, and it could be useful. We're not gonna have any inclement weather this week, but it is nice to have, and it does work pretty well. But I think that covers pretty much the exterior and interior stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about what I think of the interior as we go around on our road test. But let's jump in now because I am freezing cold. It's finally winter here on Test Drive. So we're going to do a winter road test with the 2020 Volkswagen Arteon and go over everything else you need to know about this $53,000 car. let's think back about a year and a half ago when we drove the Kia Stinger, because if you're looking at this type of car, unless you absolutely love Volkswagen, you might be considering other vehicles in this sort of segment. An all-wheel drive mid-size family car with a lift-back design, this coupe four-door kind of look to it. And the Kia Stinger fits the bill in terms of the styling, the look of it. I mean, obviously Peter Schraer came from the Volkswagen group to go to Kia to design that car. So there might be some synergy between this car and the Stinger. But the reason why I bring that up so much is because if I were to choose between this and the Stinger, there's no question the Stinger has a lot going for it. But when you first got into that car, it didn't feel like any other Kia that had ever existed before. They used a whole new setup, new interfaces, even though the infotainment system is obviously carried over, but I mean, the button placement was slightly different. Everything felt new, everything felt fresh, different steering wheel, new gauge cluster. Everything was pretty much ground up, worked on for that vehicle. This is a new car. There's never been an Arteon before, and there's been a bit of a gap since we had the Volkswagen CC, so this just feels like a cookie cutter car from Volkswagen. It doesn't have that new Golf 8 interior design. It's not super futuristic. You take a look at the 2020 Passat here for North America. It's pretty similar to this now. You got this very large grill-like thing for the HVAC vents that run through the center. I mean, I like the look of it. It's nothing negative. You have the clock again. That was something that was removed from the 2018 Passat that we did about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And that's the reason why, because you have to go up to the Arteon to get it. And viewers who are really paying attention will see I've got my garage door opener in here because there's no home link. $53,000, there's no home link. I mentioned it on social media. If you follow me at Niall Livesey on Instagram, I said that this car looks handsome. It's a great looking car. It does have a lot going for it, but it doesn't have that luxury level feel that the Phaeton did, and it certainly doesn't have the performance of the Golf R. Even though it uses essentially the same engine, it's got less horsepower but a little bit more torque. There's just no power. It's a heavy vehicle, so when you give it some gas, it'll go eventually, but it's a bit of a struggle, even with all-wheel drive. We'll talk about the fuel economy when we wrap up, but you're not necessarily buying this for fuel economy. The all-wheel drive does help quite a bit to be able to get you out of sticky situations during the winter. Obviously not great for fuel economy, but again, back to the interior here, it just doesn't feel like anything special. I was really hoping that the Arteon would be this new era in design language for Volkswagen. It's supposed to be their flagship sedan, and traditionally a flagship sedan was supposed to be the best of the best. But this is just essentially reusing all their old stuff. Everything in here we've seen before, and there's so many blank buttons in the center console. We talk about that all the time when it comes to Volkswagen. We've got 5 blank buttons on a fully loaded top spec trim. We do have a heated steering wheel though, thank you for that. But things like the traction control, you have to go through the menu system on the infotainment system to disable it. It would be nice, just put the button here, put a couple extra buttons, fill it up. I mean, it doesn't cost anything really to put them in, but they don't. So you've got all these blank buttons here. You do have a blank button underneath the inclement weather button for the lighting system. That would probably be for fog lights if it had it, which we don't have on this. But for the most part, it still is a good car. But that's all it is. It's just a good car. It's not a great car. I enjoy driving it. It's very smooth on the road. If you're looking for a smooth car, you want good noise, vibration, and harshness levels, this would be a good one to go with. Though I am finding a lot of creaking and rattling. This car has just under 15,000 kilometers, which is high for a press car. But you're not going to be able to hear it on the microphone. But when it's quiet and you're driving around, you hit small bumps, you're hearing creaking. You're hearing rattling, you're hearing things that you really should not be hearing on a brand new car, because really 15,000 kilometers, that's nothing. That you do that within the first year. And if things are already starting to creak and rattle, I mean, I'm not trying to exaggerate here. I mean, like, you can, honest to God, hear everything that's creaking and rattling. And I don't think it's the moonroof, which is surprising. Usually those do creak over time, but it's just kind of everything else in this car. You can hear it. So if that wasn't happening, if you didn't hear these creaks and this rattling, then it would be very nice on the inside here, because the ride is smooth, the ride is quiet. On the highway, it's not really like S-Class level, obviously. Yeah, and I can't tell you really if it's Audi level quality, because we haven't driven any modern Audis, but it is smooth and quiet. So if you want that more refined experience, then this might be the way to go, but it's just this creaking. There are a number of sedans that we've tested this year on test drive under $53,000 that do a much better job of it. Kia Stinger is one of them. Also something like the Chevrolet Impala, that's, a full-size vehicle, and they have killed it off for this year. It doesn't have all-wheel drive, but I mean, that car had quite a bit going for it, and it wasn't bad either. So Volkswagen had, oh my God, that's an Arteon. Okay, wow. So the joke all week has been that I have not seen one on the road since picking this car up, or even before that, and that was one. There's 2 Arteons. The entire population of Volkswagen Arteons is in Actonville right now. I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit there while I was filming, just because I was so taken aback by another Arteon. Like I said, I really haven't seen them on the road. But the point is, there are other options out there. If you really want a Volkswagen, then yeah, this is an option. But the Audi A5, I mean, unless you really need that extra 20 horsepower, which isn't going to make a huge difference, get the Audi, right? I mean, it's a prestige brand. There's nothing really prestige about this. I mean, Volkswagen is meant to be an affordable car, and at $53,000, it just isn't. And again, they could have made it great. I was really hoping that this would be a great car. I wanted this to be a showcase for what Volkswagen could do with their sedans and with their vehicles in general. But the fact that we have their outdated infotainment system, the fact that there is no HUD, there's no keyless entry on the rear doors, there's just things that scream cost cutting when you're driving this car. And that takes away from the overall experience. Yes, the ride is smooth. Yes, the engine is quiet enough as you're driving around. Yeah, the space is good too, but again, you're adding these things and you have to subtract the negatives about it, and you're just left with a good car, not a great car. And this really should have been the time for Volkswagen to make a great car. Because now the problem is, nobody's going to buy it, right? Aside from that guy with the black one that we just saw, I mean, nobody has bought this car, and it's going to be a problem because they aren't selling them at $53,000. Take out the $4,000 of options, you're still looking at a $49,000 car, which is the same entry price point for the Audi A5 Sportback. So again, why are you going to be buying this? They're not going to sell them, and then Volkswagen is going to pull the plug on it because they didn't sell any, and it's going to be disappointing because again, the potential's there. I really want this car to be great. So what would I do? If I was in charge of making this vehicle work here in Canada, I'd have to take a look at Volkswagen's current lineup. You can get a fully loaded 2019 Volkswagen Passat for like $36,000 MSRP. And that comes well loaded. I mean, it's probably going to be pretty much what we featured last year. So you've got a huge price gap between $36,000 and then $53,000 for this. The price needs to come down, or the features need to go up to the point where it's really worth that. Because if Kia can sell the Stinger for 50 grand and do well with it, I see a lot of Stingers now, people are buying them. Volkswagen, which is a much larger company, should be able to do more with that amount. They should be able to put a bigger engine, source a better engine from Audi. 300 horsepower should be the minimum for a car like this. You take a look at something like the Camry, that's got 300 horsepower. Now that seems to be sort of where we want to be when it comes to a comfortable amount of power out of a mid-size family car, 300 horsepower. Also, we've got the regular 8-speed transmission in here. They don't offer anything else in Canada. They could offer the 7-speed dual clutch. So again, that could be something else that they could do to enhance the actual performance and feel of this vehicle. And then finally, add the other features that we get in Europe: HUD, infotainment, HomeLink, things like that. Maybe add more than just 2 colors for the ambient lighting. You can do more. Volkswagen has the parts all there. They're all in the Volkswagen parts bin, but they've kept them off. They've said, again, this is built to a price. They've said, we need to make this cost X amount dollars for us to be able to get it out into North America, and that's it. They're not going to go above and beyond to make this into the success that it really could have been, because it could be my first choice when it comes to a vehicle like this if it had those small little changes to it to make it so much better, because I do enjoy driving it. I really do like the smoothness and the quietness on the inside minus all the rattling. But it's just once again another vehicle killed off by the bean counters over in accounting.
Before going into our fuel economy testing and our final thoughts on the 2020 Arteon, I want to back up the claim I made near the end of my driving segment about how nobody is buying this car. Volkswagen America releases detailed monthly sales information. The first Arteons were sold in April of 2019 and totaled 2,166 units by the end of November. By comparison, Volkswagen sold 5,651 Passats in the US during that same time frame, which is down significantly between minus 60 to minus 92% year-to-date change during that time. Before the Arteon went on sale, the Passat was still selling really well, as 16,525 Passats were sold in the US since December 2018 to November 2019, but it dropped significantly after the Arteon launch, yet buyers weren't running to buy it. Volkswagen Canada also says that 337 Arteons have been sold here up until November 2019. By comparison, Kia sold 8,661 Stingers during this same April to November timeframe in the US, which is also down from the same time period in 2018 of 11,597 units. Now, unfortunately for us, Audi USA does not break down their sales by trim. However, total A5 sales from April until November 2019 were 13,608. However, Audi puts out a global quarterly sales report, and 57,545 Audi A5 Sportbacks have been sold in calendar year 2019 up until September 30th. No official global sales data for the Arteon is available at this time. We'll get back to that in a minute though, but for now let's focus on fuel economy. Our independent real-world testing might interest you. The Arteon completed our 100-kilometer test loop in eco mode in 8.4 liters per 100 kilometers, or 28 US miles per gallon. We finished up our week with the Arteon at 10 liters per 100 kilometers, or 23.5 mpg. Nowhere near as good as the 2-liter Kia Stinger or all-wheel drive Nissan Altima. This surprised us as Volkswagen has historically made some very fuel-efficient vehicles as per our testing. In terms of likes, the Arteon's exterior styling is one of its strongest selling points. While it isn't crucial to have the R-Line package, it does improve the look of this vehicle with a more Audi-like experience. The smooth ride was also a strong like for us, giving this mid-sized family sedan the feeling of a longer wheelbase vehicle. The LED headlights worked incredibly well, and the inclement weather button was not only helpful but functional to improve visibility during rough weather. Rear seat space was also really good. I was able to sit back there with no problem for head, leg, or shoulder room, considering this is a 4-door coupe-style car. And finally, the exclusivity of a car that's only sold 337 units across a country of 37.5 million people means you're 3 times more likely to spot a brand new Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon than an Arteon, if that matters to you. There's 3 major dislikes that we had about this car, price being the first and most important. As we discussed at the top of this segment, sales are insanely low for the Arteon, and they seem to have also affected Passat sales negatively. We've driven dozens of cars this year that cost about $54,000, and all of those offer a whole lot more car than the Arteon does. At $44,000, this starts to look better, but with the rumor of Kia and Hyundai adding all-wheel drive to their Optima and Sonatas for 2021, on top of the Subaru Legacy and Nissan Altima who already offer all-wheel drive, Volkswagen's 4Motion isn't worth a $10,000 to $14,000 premium over the competition. Considering the 2020 Audi A5 Sportback starts at $50,900 Canadian, it just doesn't make financial sense to go with the less prestige Volkswagen Arteon over that. The excessive creaking and rattling from the interior also put a damper on the quietness of the car's ride, and you'll want to take full advantage of the 10-speaker Dyne audio system to drown out the sound of your car's aches and pains. And finally, the engine and transmission needs a boost, especially at this price point. I get that they're trying to keep it in line with the A5's even lower power numbers, but at least the Audi comes with Volkswagen's 7-speed DSG instead of this run-of-the-mill 8-speed automatic. Again, it comes down to price. With a serious MSRP cut, the 268 horsepower 4-banger won't sting as much when you know there's more power out there to be had. We mentioned what we would do about this car if we were in charge of Volkswagen, but we aren't, so we can at least tell you how we configure this Arteon test drive style. Skip the $3,000 on the R-Line package, which would be unavailable anyway as we take the Valencia interior leather with Atlantic blue metallic paint. And the driver assistance package is handy to have, but really should be included at this exorbitant price. But really, for $50,000, we're picking ourselves up a Kia Stinger instead.